All right, welcome to the first episode of
Ooh.
Investors Gallery of 2023, my entire audience. So for those of you who are new and have found either the podcast or the video clip somewhere, my name is Pressley. I am part of Dimensional Capital Partners here in Houston, and we are a multifamily investment and development firm. And we are in the office that I built. And the reason why I call it Investors Gallery is because on the other side of the wall is the art gallery that I built. And the purpose of this show and this podcast and these interviews is to allow people, the public, the general audience to be able to have access to ask questions to amazing people like Misty. So thank you for coming on, Misty. I so appreciate it. I'm so honored to have you here.
Awesome.
So let's start with telling us about yourself and what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This way to kick off the new year. I love it. Still can't believe it's here, but hey, let's rock and roll this year. I'm pumped. So yeah, my name's Misty Hassenstab, and I have been doing real estate investing full time with my husband since 2016. Yeah, so a little over 6 years. November 2016, we said bye-bye to our corporate jobs and dove in to real estate investing. Didn't know a whole lot, joined a program, and we do a lot of development as well. That's our primary focus, kind of done a little bit of everything, wholesaling, rentals, flips, but our primary focus is on new construction and development. We're super excited about this year. We're going to actually start building subdivisions, some build to rent subdivisions, which is awesome and a great market to be in, especially right now. And I also have been coaching other female investors, brand new, how to get started, and then also more experienced investors in how to scale their business. So I started that in July 2020. And it's been amazing. I've coached well over 150 women on their real estate investing journeys, and I'm just loving that this is my, job, right? It's been amazing. So I have a program called Her Mindset Matters REI, and just continuously improving it and growing that community and trying to be a resource to any women out there really wanting to jump into this industry. So it's been a lot of fun.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to unpackage. So wholesaling development. What I know I'm missing like 2 or 3 things. You've done wholesaling, you're doing development now.
Yeah, we've done some flips. We have a rental. We're going to start building, expanding that portfolio. But yeah, our primary focus, we've built a bunch of townhomes here in the Houston area. And now we're moving more towards building subdivisions. And so single family homes, but subdivisions in there, some, could be built to sell, but most of them are going to be built to rent subdivisions, which we see popping up a lot of places. And it's an amazing strategy and an amazing market to get into. Not everybody wants to be a homeowner. Not everybody can be a homeowner, but they still want a nice place to live, and they can make a decent, $2,000 a month rent, payment, and live in a nice new place. And it's been a really, we've been doing a lot of research on this for about 2 years. And it's just really exciting to now be moving forward and breaking ground and starting to build, these communities and opportunities for more housing, especially here in Texas, because we got a lot of people coming here. So we need places for them to live,
What is the first thing you got into?
So we, I think our very first deal that we did was a flip. And we started in Austin, and it was actually over by Franklin's Barbecue. And it took a little bit longer than expected, but because of where it was located, which Franklin's Barbecue is downtown Austin, we actually did better because the appreciation of that area. So that, I believe that was our first deal. And then, like I said, I've done some wholesale deals, and then we moved to Houston in 2017, October 2017 or November, right after Harvey, and we were going to flip flooded homes. And we never flipped a flooded home, and we got right into new development, which is much easier to build here in Houston than it was in Austin.
Mhm.
And that's really where we wanted to be. My husband is a former civil engineer, grew up in construction. He's always wanted to build. And so we found some other investors that were looking for like a project manager to actually be the boots on the ground and build, and he can do that. And so we teamed up with them on a couple of projects, and that's how we got into new development pretty early on. I mean, that was in the
Yeah.
second year that we were investing. So yeah.
So was it your husband that pulled you into real estate investing?
Oh
Or
yes. Oh
okay.
yes. Yes, I had no interest, desire. I didn't know anything about it, and I was okay with that. I was a human resources manager, and I was totally fine doing that. And then, of course, he took me to, a 3-day event, and I was like, oh, I want to do this. I can do this. I can help people, and I want to help build a business. And so then, we just both said, let's do it. Let's just go all in. And if we absolutely have to, we can go back to work. Thank goodness we have not had to 6+ years later, and we don't ever plan to. And I really just fell in love with helping people. And so a lot of my focus was on helping people stop foreclosures. I learned everything there was to know about foreclosures, door knocked for 9 months straight. I mean, I was like, yeah, I was doing this full time. So it was like every day. And it was the best experience, the best learning experience. And so that's a big part of the coaching that I do, is really helping women. They also really want to help people. And we need more of that, especially right now. There's a lot of people facing foreclosure, especially after COVID. It's a very different conversation that you're having with these homeowners and these potential sellers. And it's not an, are you interested in selling your house conversation, because they're not. And so I take everything that I learned as what I did in my business or do in my business, especially that boots on the ground door knocking. I don't door knock anymore, but the boots on the ground door knocking, and I really help them facilitate these conversations and provide as much value and service to people in these situations. And so I love that I'm able to share like real life, experience, and how I built that business and help them do the same. So yeah, but yeah, no, I had no interest in real estate investing, and he took me to that event, and I was like, I'm in, let's do this. And we've never looked back, and it's been an incredible journey, a hard one, not the easiest, and entrepreneurship is tough, but zero regrets. And I absolutely love what I do every single day, all day. Like, it's like I said, the fact this is my job, I don't like to call it work or a job, but it's awesome. So yeah, I
the
love
job
it.
ends and you wake up working.
Yeah, it's like I get to do what I love, which is help people all day, every day, whether
Yeah.
it's people, facing foreclosure, or my coaching clients that are, building their businesses. And so that's all I've ever wanted to do, was help people. So it's been a beautiful journey, and businesses. We have multiple businesses now that have been blossoming, and it's just fun to share in that too, and hope that it inspires and helps other people, jump into this if that's something that they're passionate about, for sure.
Do you feel comfortable sharing which program that you went to?
Yeah. So we joined the Big Dog program with Phil and Shanoa Grove. So we went to their 3-day event and went through their program. And there's many programs out there. They're all good in their own right. They all offer different things. They have different kind of support, different kind of education. And I don't believe in competition or scarcity or anything like that. I think if you find the right program and the right coach or coaches or whatever for you, then that's all that matters. And so I always say, go out and explore, go to these different events, kind of vet these coaches, vet their programs, talk to the people that have gone through it. That's what we did. and make sure it's going to be a good fit for you, because if it isn't, it is going to be very difficult for you to learn from those people and actually like be able to go do, or if they don't provide the kind of support that you're looking for or education. So really make sure it's something, but it is the best investment that you will make is in yourself. And so when you buy into these programs or hire coaches and mentors and whatnot, to me, I will always have a coach. I will always be part of programs because I'm always going to better myself. And I want to provide that to, continue to provide that in different ways to the women investors as well. So yeah, I'm a huge advocate of coaching programs and having coaches and mentors of all kinds, by your side and on your journey. And I love to be that for others as well.
That's amazing. So my podcast is a little slightly different because I like to get into the human side. Sometimes me and the person I'm interviewing kind of nerd out on real estate investing, or I had Satch on, I think 2 weeks ago, no, a month ago, and we're both pilots, so we kind of nerded out on airplanes. But I want to get a little light shed on the thought process and what was going through your mind, because your husband kind of was in it already, but more through an academic, civil engineering, not really yet boots on the ground. And you guys came together as a power couple and kind of went head in first. What was the thoughts and how did you handle all these? Because everybody gets negative thoughts and scary thoughts. How did you handle all of that when you first went into it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everybody gets them. And guess what? You're going to continue to get them as your business grows, because every time a new project comes along or a new opportunity or a new client or something along those lines, every time that it's time to level up, you're going to get a little bit scared, and you should actually, because you're getting pushed outside your comfort zone. So that's a big part of the coaching that I do. I love that you want to talk about this, because my program is called Her Mindset Matters, REI, for a reason. We get in our heads, especially women. I love women, but we're emotional creatures. We get in our own way. And for me, I was definitely, my husband is more of like the left brainer, get everything a plan out. And I'm just like, oh, this feels right. Let's just do it.
Right.
So we do make a good team. And I will say, as I've grown, getting the proper education, getting the proper coaches and mentors. And now I've had many, many coaches and mentors. I've had mindset coaches. I've had business coaches. I'm actually working with she's actually a trauma coach, because I had a pretty, I guess, memorable, I don't know if I'm a mom now, and I had a pretty interesting delivery day. And so I've worked with coaches of all different types, and they've all helped me personally and professionally. So I think finding that and just addressing the fears, just acknowledging like, hey, I'm so scared to pick up the phone and make these cold calls, because what if somebody asks a question I don't have an answer to?
Yeah.
Or I'm scared somebody's going to say, yes, I am interested in selling, and then I don't know what comes next, right? I mean, fear of success is a real thing that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
They usually mention fear of failure, but they don't mention fear of success. And I didn't really understand it until I actually worked with a mindset coach about my fear of success. And it's, constantly getting in front of that and understanding, well, where are these fears coming from? And also taking from that you excel in, maybe your job, or you're an amazing mom, you're super organized, and you're like the PTA, whatever it is, or you're climbing the corporate ladder, but taking those skills and bringing it into your real estate investing business, or whatever business it is. Yes, it's a new industry, it's a new business. But for example, for me with human resources, I had dealt with distressed employees every day, all day, right? And so having conversations with distressed homeowners was very easy for me. They were, in a situation, they weren't happy about a situation, they needed help, and I was there to help them. Was it a different conversation of the specifics that we were talking about? Sure. and I got the proper, education and coaching to talk specifics, but the empathy I could bring into it, sitting with them, truly, building rapport and trust with them. Those are all skill sets that I pulled over from my human resources side of things. I think we forget that we can borrow those skills and the confidence in those skills and bring them over to something new that we're doing. We just go, oh, I'm new, I don't know anything, so I'm scared and I'm going to fail and I'm going to fall flat on my face and everybody's going to know. We forget that, for whatever, 20, 30, 40, 50, I've coached women now that are in their 60s, 60 years, that you've had these skill sets that you've used to survive or to, climb a corporate ladder, get better jobs, be a good mom, be a good wife, whatever it is. And you can bring those and borrow those and pull those over. And when you realize that, it's not as scary. And you start focusing on those things, and then you can learn everything else. Everything else can be learned, but we have to address what exactly we're scared of and acknowledge it, and then start to bring in the proper tools and resources and support to then confidently move forward and take action in your business. Because most people don't take action. They consume the information, they come on these webinars, they go on Bigger Pockets, they watch everything on YouTube, they read book after book after book, and 15 years goes by and they've never done a real estate transaction. Why? Right? Because they're terrified. Right? So what are you scared of? Let's address that. Let's use these skills that you're an education that you're learning, and let's actually do something with it. But we have to understand what we're so scared of first.
Right.
So
That's amazing.
Mindset, everything.
I tell myself I always want to write all these. I have so many questions and then I get to one and I forget the other 6. So first question, really an assumption, because I was reading your bio and I saw human resources. Did you also pull a lot of organizational skills that you either might have had already or learned from HR into the real estate realm?
Yeah, a lot of what, so when we started our businesses, we took our second business, which is our development firm, Elevated Development. We started it with another couple, and they were part of the same program that we were part of, and we all had very different skill sets. And part of mine was that human resources side, and that bringing in all of that and understanding how to set up the business properly in that side, because we were hiring employees and we had to pay them and we had to do, sign contracts and do all this stuff. So, it was like, there was tons of different skills, I guess, or again, knowledge that I had that was specific to that I pulled over into this business, and so on and so on. Now we have a few different real estate investing businesses, and now my coaching business, and I definitely pull that over. And a big part of what I do, obviously coaching, is train and develop people. That's also a big part of human resources, is training and developing people. And it was my favorite part of human resources. So now I get to keep doing that, which is awesome, because that was the part that I was like, I'm going to miss that. But now I have that opportunity. And so, and that's another thing, you get to make whatever this business is you want it to be. You are in charge here. And we forget that. And it's like, so you enjoy doing those things, bring those over, bring, whatever it is you enjoy doing, either hire out the stuff that you don't want to do or bring in a partner to do that stuff. You don't have to do it all alone. And we've never done it all alone. We've always had partners in our deals, in our businesses, and we always will. It's just more fun, more skill sets, more, people, more brains, more money, more, all of it is involved. And it just made sense for us. And maybe that doesn't for everybody else, but yes, I definitely pulled over a lot. And so have the other partners in Elevated Development. They brought over their skill sets. They worked in oil and gas, and specific things that they were really good at. That's why we kind of joined forces. So coming together and understanding strengths and weaknesses is a very vital part of setting your business up properly and creating the right team around you as well, especially if you want to scale.
Right. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say, with all the training that you're continually getting, do you feel that that's what separates successful or highly successful people versus those who are not successful? Would be how much training they are getting or willing to pay for?
I think it's not so much the training, I think it's the doing part. So I have coached women that went through multiple programs before mine, had hired multiple coaches, spent tons of money on whatever they spent money on, right? Online programs, in-person programs, weekend retreats, whatever it is, and still had never done anything. And so that's really, to me, the difference is it doesn't matter how much money you spend or how many programs you've been a part of. And that's kind of what they say. Well, Misty, I don't need another program. I've been through this program, this program, this program. I said, yes, but have you done a deal yet? Well, no. Well, okay. So in my program, that's why my program is so mindset focused, because I'm getting all the women that have consumed, I call it passive action taking. There's a difference between massive and passive, right? So they've consumed, which is awesome. But if you don't do anything with it, what's the point?
Yeah.
So I take that and help them do massive action taking, which is doing, right? They actually have to build a business plan and implement it. And we're doing cold calls, we're doing, and that's the big difference between the people that you'll find that are successful and not successful, right? There's people that just talk about it all the time, and there's people that just do it and figure it out as they go. And the people that do it and figure it out as they go are the ones that are going to be more successful and get there a lot quicker as well, obviously. Right.
That makes a lot of sense. How much do you spend on learning and coaching and everything that
we've spent, oh gosh,
I'm comparing notes and numbers to
I've spent well over probably close to $100,000 on coaching and programs. I think I'm maybe even a little over that. But yeah, no, absolutely. And I have zero regrets on any of it. Like it all, even if the program wasn't a perfect fit, I still learned from it and was able to take from it. Spent large amounts, smaller amounts, got one-on-one coaching, done group coaching. I provide that for others. And it's really, I will say, the bigger investment that you make, the more serious that you take it. But it is more about finding the right program or coach and really like going all in and finding somebody that's not just about signing you up, like, oh, I don't, as long as you sign up and I get your payment, I don't care, whatever, but really finding the right, for what you need, the right person or program is like vital. That is so key. But then you have to turn around and execute. You have to do. I can't pick up the phone and make the cold calls for you. You know what I mean? I can help talk you through, what's going on there and your mindset and how to answer these questions people are asking and prepare you, but I can't pick up the phone and make the calls for you. So that's what they still have to do. But once we tackle these mindset issues, the fear of doing, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then the more that you do, the more confidence that you build. And then it's not so scary anymore. So it's a process. But.
So in your coaching, okay, because I want to see if there's a different, not a way to differentiate, but I guess to see if there's a difference at all. When you're coaching a young woman, because they're all young women, what do you see most common as the biggest issue, or is the biggest issue always the lack of action?
Yeah, it's the fear. It's the lack of action. It's the not feeling ready. It's the fear of somebody asking a question and you not having the answer or not knowing what to do next. It truly is the lack of action. It's the analysis paralysis. It's, I want to wholesale, and then I want to do short-term rentals, and then I want to do multifamily, and then I want to it's the shiny object syndrome, which causes lack of action. It's the overwhelm. Where do I start? How do I know what to do? How to do it? Again, lack of action. It all stems to lack of action. And so once we can get past these mindset blocks or roadblocks, I like to call them, and then even if we're just taking a tiny bit of action to start, it will build up and build up and build up. But yeah, that's where men and women are different. Men will just go and do. They just will. Most of them, they don't really overthink that much. They're just, hey, I'm just going to go do, and I'm going to figure it out as I go.
Right.
Where women, we overanalyze everything.
Yeah.
And I love that about us, but I also can get there's so many things about women that I love to bring into the real estate investing space. Because we just look at everything so differently, and we interact with people differently, but we will so get in our own way because we're too in our head, overthinking, that then no action actually takes place, and then nothing gets done, no business is built, no deals are closed, no money is made. And 15 years later, you're in the exact same position that you were when you first started reading articles and books and stuff, right? And then you're pissed at yourself. You're like, really? I haven't, another year went by and I didn't do anything again, or you'll justify it by getting another book or hopping on another webinar or joining another program.
Powerful. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you have a good coach, they will call you out on all of that. And then they will help you dig into, okay, well, what about this book or program or whatever makes you think this is going to be different this time, and what's really going on here. So that's the difference between a good coach and a not so good coach.
So what
They
I'm
will hold
hearing
you very
is
accountable.
a really good coach is also a really good counselor, is what I'm also.
Yes, they ask a lot of questions. They make you very uncomfortable, and they ask you a lot of questions, and they ask you very difficult questions that nobody else has asked you. They don't sugarcoat anything. They don't, because what's that going to do? I'm not your friend. I mean, I am friendly with all of my coaching clients. I love all of them very, very much, but I'm not your friend that's, oh, everything's going to be okay. It's like, no, we're going to find it. Why didn't you make your cold calls today? What was going through your head? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire because nobody else is. And that's why you haven't done anything for 15 years, right? So a good coach will ask you some of the toughest questions. And I get told that all the time, that like, man, Misty, I love your questions, but I also hate them because it makes me really think. It makes me really like dig into what's going on. But the only way to figure out what is going on is to truly ask yourself those questions and be honest with what's going on or what's not, what's happening or not happening, basically. So
the toughest person to deal with is the one in the mirror.
Yep.
So if the most difficult issue and topic for your coaching group, and probably the sample of your audience probably speaks to the majority of, let's say, at least women out there. What would you say number 2 and number 3 are of either mental blocks or action or actionable items that they just are not doing?
So one mental block would be money. They think they need, I got to save, right? And that's why women will go 15, 20 years saving to buy their first investment property. And I'm not going to sit here and say you don't need any money to start real estate investing, because that's not true. You do need some money, right? Especially if you are going to invest in a program or a coach. Also, you need some money to invest into some marketing campaigns or whatever you're doing, purchase a list. It can be very minimal, but when it comes to purchasing properties, there are obviously very creative ways that you can purchase properties, which we do share, in our program. And so I think people use money as like a excuse in a sense, or they just think they need a bunch of money in order to invest. It also depends on the type of investing you're doing. If you just want to passively invest, then yeah, you do need money, right? So, but I think everybody's like, oh, I just need to save another year, and no, we can get you, we can help build your capital. We can get you into deals, owner finance, subject to all these creative ways that we teach. And then I would say the third one is not having a solid plan. The women that do take action that I talk to take very, unintentional, oh, I'm just going to go put out 10 bandit signs, and then I'm going to make 10 cold calls, and then I might knock on 10 doors, and they're all over the place in the action that they're taking. And so they're not doing any of it right. They're not being strategic. They're not following up. And then they're bouncing from list to list to list, or marketing campaign to marketing campaign to marketing campaign. Oh, I door knocked 5 doors in 2 weeks. Nobody said yes. This doesn't work. Now I'm going to go to cold calling, right? This happens all the time, and nobody follows up. And that's where all the deals are. You have to follow up. And so I think having, taking action, but not being strategic and intentional and productive with your time, because time is a big one for the women that a lot of them are single moms. They have full-time jobs. They don't have, the luxury of jumping into real estate investing full-time. That's a goal of theirs. So we have to be very intentional with how they're spending their time, because otherwise they're not going to get results, and they're going to get very frustrated. And that's typically why how they found me, is they're to that point, like either I'm not taking action, or I am, and I'm not getting any results.
How do you typically market? So how do you typically market?
So the best ways for me marketing, obviously my focus was on pre-foreclosures, right? People facing foreclosure, stop their foreclosure, help them start fresh type thing. I had a whole team of people that would help me with this, relocation specialists, credit repair specialists, all of that. And the best, either door knocking or cold calling are the two best ways. You want to be in front of that person, whether it's physically in front of them or on the phone. In my opinion, sending mailers, waiting for them to call you, these are professional procrastinators. They don't want to deal with the situation. They buried their head in their sand. So unless somebody is knocking on their door or calling them, they're not really going to address it. So for me, that is what my primary focus. I've done all of it: letters, bandit signs, tried all of it. And those were the two that actually created results. And I'll tell you, I was one of those people in the beginning that was doing a bunch of different marketing campaigns incorrectly, right? I was doing too little of too much and not doing it correctly. That's where I'm like, when you work with me, one marketing campaign is your first focus. One list, one marketing campaign. Let's get really good at that, close some deals, and then we can bring in another marketing campaign and another list. But until then, no, because you need to get really good at this one, right? So it's a totally different approach than what probably most coaches out there are like, oh, go put out a bunch of bandit signs and go make a bunch of calls and da-da-da. It is a numbers game, but you still need to be strategic in how you play that numbers game, in my opinion.
Right. And what about your coaching program? How do you market that?
So that's all been through Facebook. Since July 2020, I have only been on Facebook. And that's how I have literally got all the women that have gone through the Her Mindset Matters coaching program and my one-on-one clients. Now I have hired a marketing and branding agency to actually help me. We're just starting to work together so that I can expand my reach a little bit and, get on Instagram and LinkedIn and just get out there a little bit more. But yeah, it's all been through relationships, just relationships I've already built. And then just, I guess building relationships on Facebook too. Like I just, interact with women and we start chatting and get on a call. And if it's a good fit, then we get them signed up and we start working together.
So, and I'm sure a lot of referrals too.
Yes. And referrals. Yep. A lot of referrals as well. So
it's
been great. It's been a very organic way to build the business, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to be very hey, if we've interacted and you like the way I do things, let's chat and see if, I can help you build your business. Because I've said no to people and people have said no to me, and that's cool. Good. There's other programs out there and all of that. So I get to work with the people that I really want to work with and vice versa, which is awesome.
That's cool. So that's your coaching program, and you you went from a flip to wholesaling. Did you do subject twos when you were dealing with the foreclosure?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to.
As much as possible. Yeah. Because whether it was us purchasing the property or my buyers purchasing the property, they wanted sub 2 deals as much as possible. So I pretty much negotiated all of those contracts as sub 2. And then I had some cash buyers that would come in and want to pay cash. And that's fine, right? You just, do an addendum to the contract, but I would negotiate all of those deals to be sub 2. And honestly, a lot of them, because these people do bury their heads in the sand for so long, they have no equity and they're very close to being underwater. And a lot of times the deal would only make sense. The numbers only made sense if it was a sub 2 deal. If somebody were to come in and pay cash, it would not have made sense. But if you're taking over a loan and you're cash flow, $500 a month or whatever, and not a lot has to be done to the house because it's a newer house, well, okay, that makes sense. I can do that, right? So yeah, majority of the foreclosure contracts that I got were sub 2.
Wow, and that's also helping a lot of families out as well.
Yes, it is a great strategy that really presents a win-win all around, in my opinion. So it really helps them rebuild their credit and get them out of a situation that other people, if they don't know how to do a sub 2 or get creative, they may say, sorry, like there's nothing we can do. You owe too much or whatever, and not be able to help them.
Right.
So.
Right. I want to go a little bit more into the real estate, but you're such an amazing personality that I want to dig just a little bit deeper on that. So tell the audience and myself as well, some of your self-empowering vehicles, like your books. Do you have a favorite YouTube person? Like Michael Blank is a big one. Where does your information usually flow from?
So I'm always yeah. I'm always listening to, I start my day with Darren Hardy. He has a Darren Daily. I don't know if you know who he is, but he has just a quick, it's usually like anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, and it's just a little motivational thing. It gets emailed to me every day. I'm actually currently listening to The Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown. And one of my favorite books that I really loved was You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. And there was one that was really good about building teams, and I can't think of the name of it. I want to say it was like Time Clock or something. I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to let you know, but there was one that it was quite a while ago that I listened to it, but it was about kind of building teams and putting proper team members and processes and things like that in place, which was really interesting.
I think I just read that book.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I do. I have so many books on Audible.
I know, me too. I'm like, what is the?
And I just did I really read this many books in between? Was it The Hands-Off Investor?
No.
Oh.
Another good one is The Magic of Thinking Big. That's a really good one.
Who Not How is the book I'm thinking of.
No.
But from your responses, no. Who Not How speaks about the same thing. It's it basically goes into, it's not you personally doing something, is basically figuring out somebody who knows how to do it and okay, well, that was what I thought it was.
Yeah, and this one, what is it? Oh, another really good one for people that get uncomfortable about having conversations is Exactly What to Say by Phil M. Jones. It's really, really good. And actually, he came into our program, the Big Dog program, and he did like a webinar, like a Q&A, and it was really, really awesome. Exactly What to Say.
Downloading it now.
Yeah, it's really good. Of course, I can't find.
Oh, it's only an hour. I can do that in a second.
Yeah, it's a short book.
Okay. That's not like 14 hours.
Yeah, Clockwork. That's the one I was thinking of. Clockwork.
Okay.
by
Okay.
Mike McCallow. I don't know. So I'm always, and then podcasts I love. So I joined his program. It was Rob Dial. His podcast is the Mindset Mentor.
Mhm.
So I joined his program back in December 2020. And he really helped me with my mindset and actually helped me grow my coaching business. And I joined his mastermind and everything. It was amazing. So I love his podcast.
Mhm.
And then The Good Life, Brian Buffini. He's
Mhm.
actually an agent, but he's got multiple businesses and whatever. I really love his podcast and the message that he puts out there. Life Coach School is one I listen to a lot. And then there's another one called The Business Savage that actually she's the woman I hired for my marketing and branding. I hired her agency to do marketing and branding for me. She's like a freaking marketing branding genius, but her name is Cassandra Britton, and she has a podcast called The Business Savage. And she's
Okay.
also a business and mindset coach too. So we were part of a mastermind together. And so, but yeah, I love listening to that kind of stuff, especially in the morning when I'm getting ready, because it gets me all fired up for the day. And I always share a bunch of podcasts with all of my coaching clients, kind of based on what they're doing and what they're going through and whatever else. I always have some podcasts to share with them. So that's always nice.
Tell us about your daily routine.
My daily routine. Well, it definitely, I have an 8-month-old. So when she came into the world, things changed a little bit. So she was born in April. And now we have her in daycare and everything else. So I usually do spend the mornings with her because I work late into the evenings. Most of my coaching clients and coaching sessions are in the evenings because all of my clients have full-time jobs. So I spend the mornings with her and then take her to daycare. And then I get, the rest of the day, basically in evenings to work on the businesses. And I'm primarily focused on my coaching business. And then I'm like, my husband is running all of our development projects. Like that's his jam. He loves that.
So he's going to be on the next podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, he would love that. But he loves, being out there building stuff and whatnot. And so I'm involved in helping make decisions and knowing what's going on, but I'm not like day to day going out and like managing contractors or building anything. That's his thing. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. The reason I ask is I've been mentoring for about 15 years. And oddly enough, I didn't realize how big of a thing mentorship was. I've mentored because it was just something that I've always wanted to help people, because where I come from, there was such a lack of opportunity to receive help. So it was just, I didn't know a lot of people even charge for it. To this day, like my partner and I just started, coaching people and teaching people for a fee, because he was like, "You're teaching these people how to be multimillionaires for free." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's not, you're supposed to, right?"
Yeah.
But the reason why I ask you about your routine is what I come from a Tony Robbins type of background, where every day you want that reset and every day you want to start at the same level. So I was just curious if you had that same type of mentality. I have 3 kids and a 2-year-old as part of that 3. So I currently just got reset as well. I was waking up at 6 and so motivating to hear people. I used to do runs at 6 o'clock in the morning, and at the end of my run, I will go live and give like motivational speeches and just pour into people. And when that baby came, people don't understand, without kids, the middle of the night waking up and feeding, and it will definitely change your schedule. So that's where that came from. That's why I asked you if you had a routine.
Yeah, I think I'm still kind of figuring it out. Like, you know what I mean? She's been in daycare for a couple of months and I'm just
Mhm.
kind of getting back into the businesses full time and all of that. I'm not a super like regimented. I have certain things I need to do every day, like work
Mhm.
out and move my body and like listen to podcasts or books and journal. Like I have that, but I'm not like at this time I'm doing this and at this time I'm doing this. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty free flowing. My husband, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. Like he's up at 4 a.m. He's at
Woo.
CrossFit at 5 a.m. He's usually at the office by 7. Like he is
Wow.
very, and that's how he works. And when he doesn't get a workout in or doesn't get up early, he's kind of thrown off. And I'm not that way. So we're different, but I do absolutely see the importance of making sure that you're including the things that like give you the reset or fuel the fire or whatever, right? And motivation is great. Like I love motivation. You want things to motivate you, but you need to find things that will help you create the discipline to do the things, especially the things that you don't want to do, right? So
Mhm.
for me, working out, I feel a little bit off the rest of the day in
Mhm.
like doing all the things I need to do if I didn't get that outlet, like get out and do something not business, not mommy, not nothing, just for me. I can
Yeah.
feel it throughout the rest of the day. Now,
Wow.
it could be at 7 in the morning I work out, or it could be at 10 in the morning. That I don't care that much about, but it's like getting those certain things in at some point is really
Yeah.
what my focus is, making
Yeah.
sure that that happens. Yeah.
That's amazing. That it's amazing that you are not overly hard on yourself, that it has to be, blocked
Oh, that
out.
has taken a long time to get there, let me tell you. And I still struggle with it because I used to be very hard on myself. And
Mm,
it's understanding myself now and understanding my circumstances now and being a new mom and figuring this out. And what do I want my day to look like? I want to spend my mornings with my daughter, and I have the luxury of doing that because I have my
yeah,
own business. So
right.
where old Misty would have been like, nope, she needs to, we need to get up at this time. She needs to be at daycare at this time and da 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 da. And I know my husband struggles with that a little bit because he is like that, but
What time does he go to bed?
he doesn't need much sleep. He's probably still
Uh,
awake
he's
right
one
now.
of those.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, he
He's one
doesn't
of
need
the
much,
people
but
I'm
we
jealous
usually
of.
are in bed fairly early. She goes down, she's in bed by like 7 and we're usually in bed by like 10 at the latest. So he's still
Okay.
getting 6 hours. But
Okay.
yeah, he does not need a lot of sleep. I know it's crazy. I'm like, when his alarm goes off, I'm like, oh, thank goodness that's not mine.
Babe, can you turn the bathroom light off when you leave?
Oh, yeah, it's nuts, but it works for him, So you
Yeah.
got to find what works for you. I think people that are just doing like the what is it, the 5 a.m. Miracle Morning just to do it, just to check it off, that's
Mhm.
not doing anything for you most of the
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
what are the things that kind of fuel you and feed your soul,
Yeah.
make sure you're doing those things.
Mhm.
That's so I'm all for schedules and routines, but really leaning into like what I need today, right?
Yeah. Doing what works.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Makes a big difference for
So
sure.
you guys are pretty heavy going into the build to rent. What sparked that?
Really, my husband's been doing research on it for a couple of years, and obviously Texas is a great market to be in.
Mhm.
And what we discovered, because we were building townhomes and selling them,
Mhm.
which is fine, and we're still doing some of that too. But this millennial generation, or even the generation under them, like not a lot of them want to be homeowners. They kind
Yeah.
of just want a place and they want to travel and come home to this place, and they want a newer place. And
Yeah.
they're fine paying $2,000, $2,500 a month in rent, whether it's a brand new condo,
Mhm.
in downtown area, or people now moving more out to the suburbs after COVID, wanting more space, but they don't necessarily want to be a homeowner. They don't want to deal with all the things that are, go into being a homeowner, or they can't qualify for a loan for whatever reason, credit,
Right.
or they don't have a down payment. They may have $2,000 a month to spend on rent, but they don't have $20,000 to put down. So it's just, we've just kind of discovered all these things, and Texas is just such a strong market, and there's always going to have a need for rentals.
Yeah.
And so we saw some of these types of communities popping up and doing some research on them. And I mean, it's just like in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. So, so we're just excited to hit the ground running and start building these build-to-rent subdivisions. So,
Have you guys thought about doing or starting a real estate investment fund to help scale?
we have, yes, we've talked about that, and I know that we're kind of doing some research on like how to properly like raise funds and do things like that. You know what I mean? I can't think of the proper term, but
Capital raising.
yeah, capital raising. Yeah. Doing that sort of stuff, because absolutely, I mean, we have investors in like our townhome projects, and we've built anywhere from 6 at a time up to 12 at a time. And so we do know how to do it that way, but obviously when you're on a much larger scale, it's a totally different, ball game, and there's certain ways to do it. And we want to make sure we're abiding by all the regulations and laws and
Which is
all
a
of
lot
that.
of.
Yeah.
It's a lot of.
It is. But yes, that's absolutely something we are very interested in learning more about and doing in the future, for sure.
Well, call me
Yeah,
or me or Julie, and we'll go out to lunch. That's what we do.
love it.
Is raise capital
Awesome.
and brand and market and all things real estate, but mostly multifamily and raising capital.
Yeah. So would that be considered multifamily if it's like a build to rent subdivision, because it's still single family homes, or no?
No,
Yeah,
it
I
can
kind
be
of figured that.
it can be considered a commercial loan
Right.
because you're buying more than one parcel.
Yeah.
But a commercial multifamily asset is 5 units or more,
Okay.
not necessarily 5 parcels or 5
Yeah.
residences or more.
Yeah, single family is 1 to 4. So yeah, okay. I wasn't
But
sure if you guys would consider that, since I mean, you're buying a subdivision. Like, it's not like you're buying one-offs, right? You're buying, and how we're doing it is we're working with a buyer that's coming to the table and providing the funding, and we're just building it, right? But there's so many different ways to structure it, and that's like one of my husband's favorite things to do, is get creative and figure out all the different ways to make sure it's making everybody money and it makes sense.
Yep,
So,
making the returns as high as possible. Yeah, and for the most part, if you're in real estate, a raise is kind of a raise. So if you're raising a certain amount of money, like if you're raising, my threshold is 5 million. If you're raising more than 5 million and the investment amount is more than 5 million, then either way, you're gonna be in Regulation D of the SEC code. If it's more than 5 million, then you're a 506C. If it's less than 5 million, then you're B. And so B is just, if you do a regulation 506B, you can have 35 non-accredited investors. But at your scale, you want to do 506C. You can't have non-accredited investors. So mom, grandma, and best friend can't necessarily, unless they're accredited, can't invest in it. But now you can advertise. Now you can have as many accredited investors as you want to. The filing is a little bit more expensive, but you have all of these other nice things, like you can advertise. So you can put on Facebook, hey, we're opening up. We just signed a purchase and sell agreement for 600 acres, and we're about to start a subdivision. And if you're interested, we're doing a Zoom call at Friday at 8 or whatever it is. So doing certain things allows you to have certain freedoms, but a 506B would allow family to come in, but you have other, so there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's good to know, and definitely chat with you guys more about that, because that is a direction we would like to go in at some point. So cool.
So, what words of wisdom do you have for our audience? And does anybody, while she's given her amazing words of wisdom, Does anybody have any questions? And I'm sure I'm gonna get in trouble by Melvin because he's on here. I'm sure I said something incorrectly.
That's all right. That's how we learn, right?
Right.
So words of wisdom. Honestly, I would say the best thing I've ever done is invest in myself. You know, whether it's a coach, a program, whatever it is, it just takes you to a whole new level. Because if you're going to just simply rely on yourself, we like to think that we hold ourselves accountable, but we don't. I mean, in full honesty, we don't in the way that others can. And it also really helps you address any of the fears that pop up, any of those roadblocks, those obstacles. And like I said, like I'm always going to have coaches and mentors, because every time it's time to level up in my businesses or even in my personal life, like it's scary. It is, you know, it freaks you out, makes you very uncomfortable. And you can either let that hold you back or you can push through it. And if you have the proper, you know, support around you and tools and resources, pushing through it is so much better. Like there's, you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is so much opportunity. You're going to be so proud of yourself, and really enjoy the journey, embrace the journey. It's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. And really, truly taking time and acknowledging how far you've come. And really, it's not about the destination. Everybody's so, I want financial freedom. I want to quit my job. I want to make this much, you know, $1 million, all great goals. Love, love, love that. But really, truly understand the person that you need to become in order to achieve those goals. And that's where the journey is.
That's beautiful.
Like, yeah, it's you. If you were that person already, you would have achieved all of that. So who do you need to become, and what do you need to be doing in order to have those things? It's not a, you know, have, be, do. It's a more of a be, do, have mindset. And that's something we dive really deep into, and understanding who that person is. Who is your future self? What does she look like? What are her habits? How does she show up? You know, how does she dress? How does she interact with people? And that's all discovered on your journey. And I think people focus so much on the destination that they forget about the journey. And I'm guilty of doing that as well. And the journey is where it's at. It's a beautiful ride. And you just gotta, you gotta stick with it, and you actually have to start it. You know, that's that taking action part. You actually have to do. We can't complain about results that we don't create.
Wow, that's a bumper sticker. Wow.
My coaching clients hear me say that all the time. You cannot complain about results that you do not create. Like, absolutely not.
Oh,
I see some people. Love it.
Melvin, hey, did you want to chime in since she kind of touched on security stuff real quick?
Yeah, real quickly, Misty, how are you doing?
Hello.
I love this podcast so far, and I'm a securities attorney. I'm the other half of Dimensional Capital. My esteemed partner gave you an antiquated description of securities laws there.
That's why we got him.
I can either join you guys at lunch, or you can reach out to me separately, and we can discuss capital raising and the proper structure. But I love what you're doing. The biggest takeaway that I had was being actionable, actually taking action. I think that's very important. I tell my clients all the time, we can talk about it for months, but you got to start doing. And I think we can all learn from that. So really great podcast. Looking forward to meeting you.
Thank you. Me as well. Absolutely. We'll do lunch soon for sure. All of us. It'll be fun.
Misty, do you get asked to speak a lot?
I do. I love speaking. That's actually one of my big goals for this year, is to get on a big stage. I do a lot of podcast interviews. I've hosted a lot of webinars, been guests on webinars and presentations and things like that. And I would love the opportunity to get on a stage. I actually submitted an application to get on the stage at the Invest Her Con event that's happening in May in Scottsdale, Arizona. And so
Mhm.
that would be one of the biggest, like that would be the biggest event I would have ever gotten on a stage for. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed there that I'll have that opportunity. But
Mhm.
I'm very passionate about the mindset work that I do and the importance of it in building a business. I don't care what that business is. But I really think that there is a lack of that in our industry. And speaking about these things and these fears and these roadblocks, it is about doing, we got to get out and do, but it's also truly understanding where all of that comes from. And so every opportunity that I can get to share my own journey and what's helped me and the tools and resources I offer to others, I'm all about, because especially for women that are intimidated about getting into this industry, it's very male dominated, on the investing side, and they're a little nervous. And so I don't want that holding them back or anything holding them back. And so being a support to the women investors out there is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I want to just keep providing more and more resources as much as I can.
That's awesome. Well, I think I can say Melvin and I and Julie, as well as part of Dimensional Capital, would love to have you come speak at Rare Cars and Real Estate. Are you coming out on the 19th?
So we have an event. So I'm part of another mentorship program as a master coach for them, and it's called the Women's Wealth Collective. And we have our monthly events the same exact nights as your monthly events. It's the third Thursday of the month. Yeah, because Julie and I have spoken about it. Yeah. So we can definitely coordinate that, and I'll just have to let them know that they're going to have to hold down the fort for our event, and I can come hang out with you guys for a night.
Or
Yeah,
bring them over.
That's true too. We could combine and have one big event too. We could definitely talk about that. But yeah, our monthly networking events are the exact same night as yours. I know, it's such a bummer because I've always wanted
Great minds think alike.
So, but yeah, I would be honored to come and present or speak or share or whatever it is that you guys would like me to do. I would love that opportunity. That'd be amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah. We will put something together, and yes, I'm more excited about the lunch because that seemed like it's going to happen sooner, but
definitely, I'll have to bring my husband along for that one too.
Yes,
sure.
and we need to get him on a podcast as well.
Yeah,
I would love to
yeah.
So and I held back from digging too much into the builder side of the development side, because it seems like he's really active in. I know you're active as well, but
yeah, he'll be a way better.
Yeah, I would have to ask him.
Yeah, and he'll love to talk about it. So it'll be perfect. So awesome.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on so much. So this video will get disseminated on multiple different platforms as well as your audio. So you are currently marketing yourself, and I appreciate everyone who has made it this far into whatever platform you're watching. Misty, how do you want people to get in contact with you? Keep in mind, this is going on the interwebs. So this is 5 years later, maybe an email, because you might change your phone number or something, but how do you want them to get in contact with you?
Honestly, the best way is to find me on Facebook. I'm part of many investing groups, obviously have my own. And so if you find me on Facebook, otherwise you can email me at misty@guidewayinvestmentpartners.com. And then I have the Her Mindset Matters REI website. You can submit a form and it'll notify me that you would like to chat about some of the coaching opportunities that I offer. And so that's just at hermindsetmattersrei.com. But yeah, just find me on Facebook. I mean, I'm always in there looking through all the fun real estate stuff and, sharing a lot of good stuff as well. I'm actually doing a free webinar tomorrow night. That's the 5 simple steps to take real action and get real results in your REI business. So if anybody's listening and wants to really take some action, right, you haven't already, then that would be awesome to join in the fun on that. But that's happening tomorrow at 5 o'clock. But I do a lot of stuff like that, little free webinars and stuff like that here and there. So yeah.
Well, you got branding down, Pack. So there you go.
Good. Well, hey, I've been doing it all myself for the last few years. So now I'm excited to have somebody that's actually an expert in it help me, and I can just focus on the coaching and real estate stuff.
It's a lot. Oh my goodness,
yes.
it's a lot.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you so much for
Awesome.
having me as a guest. I really had a great time and loved the conversation, and let's keep talking, let's
Yes,
meet for lunch.
let's
and would
let's
love to
keep
meet some of
eating.
your
Yes,
friends.
we will go eat. And
I love
I
it.
will let you
Perfect.
coordinate with Julie
Okay.
where we're going to eat. But I'm excited and I will see you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. And hello to
Thank you.
everybody who is tuning in. I appreciate you. All right. Take
All right,
care.
you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.